WUFO. Good morning, and welcome to We the Parents of Western New York. Some better weather this morning. Nice, hot Saturday morning. We're so excited that you've chose to join us on this beautiful Saturday. And we're excited about the show. I'm joined. Oh, it's 30. I know it's cold, but it looked nice. See, you want to pull up the temperature. It's cold, but it looked nice. It's better than waking out and looking out and seeing snow. It's cold, but it looks nice. So I know for those who haven't left the house yet, it is sunny, but put a coat on.
Thank you.
So don't let looking outside and seeing the sun shining down fool you. Put a coat on when you leave the house. But we're super excited to join us. I'm joined by the former host, now co-host of the show, my father, Brother Sam. How you doing today?
It is a great day to be alive, Emmanuel. And for those who celebrate Resurrection Week, we had our 7 last words yesterday, and it was really, really, profound. I heard Emmanuel close it out with the word power, but I also got a chance to hear my younger son Amir and Aaron also, do part of the 7 last words. It was really, really, I was so proud.
So did you? You did a 7 last word?
Yeah, I did one of the 7 last word, but to just see, 3 of my sons in that process, and my nephew, my son-in-law, everybody, really, do such a great job with the 7 last words. I'm really inspired today about, what's coming in the next generation, and just, how prepared they are to advance the kingdom. So I'm feeling good this morning.
Yeah, we're also joined by my road dog, my sidekick,
next generation,
my namesake, my Emmanuel Jr. Who you gonna say hi? Say hi.
Good morning, AJ.
You wanna say hi?
Good morning.
Nah, so for those who can't see, he has a Rice Krispie treat, and he's watching his YouTube, so he good. But it's always good when I can bring my son with me. But again, we're super excited. We're super grateful to be here, and I'm gonna pass it over to Pops to host the show from here on in.
I got the first of all, there's a number of things I want to cover today, but I do want to, basically, we have a unconditional commitment to have an intergenerational conversation for how we make our community better than we found it. This is a call-in show. If you want to call us, you can call us at 837-1112. 837-1112. If you want to join us on Facebook, join us at the We the Parent page on Facebook, and we would love for you to be part of this conversation. We got 3 segments of the show today, but the first segment, I just want to update people on some things. The first thing I want to let everybody know is I want to give a shout out to the Buffalo Board of Education and their new governance model. They have something called the Student Outcomes Focused Governance. You seen this, the Student Outcomes Focused Government?
Yeah, I've seen it.
And so what this means is that half of every meeting they're going to spend talking about the data associated with student outcomes. Which it's been rocky in the beginning here, but that aside. This past Monday, they had a focus group with the clergy. And so they out getting information from the community about what they want to see in education. They're also sharing the data so that, you don't have a whole board meeting where everybody just celebrating all the good stuff and ain't nobody looking at the fact that, the challenges that we are facing. So the data speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? So what's your thought about the student outcomes focused government?
Yeah, I didn't say this, but I also want to give a shout out to the board because in alignment with that model, I was invited to be a part of. They're doing a focused reading group where there's students, there's community members, parents who, and one of the first book they read was about governance models for the school board.
Okay.
And so we talked in that meeting with the author. My son got my tablet, so I can't bring it up. I'll get it by the end of the show. In that meeting with the author, we talked about the differences between different types of boards. And so it was a couple of our school board members on there, and we were able to have very transparent conversations about what kind of board we had and what kind of board we wanted. And so I was kind of there to see those thoughts, see those things come out. So I'm excited. I think I think what they're doing, in a sense, is modeling what, in my mind, what a parent should be doing, right? You should always celebrate your child for doing the good things. You should always encourage them, but there's also a time where you should look and say, these are the things you got to get better at, son. These are the things you got to get better at, daughter. And it should be equal. And so I appreciate the board being an example, because as a parent, that's how I see it, right? If I'm praising my child for the good things he's doing on his report card, I should also look at the things he needs to improve on and say, I want to spend some time talking about those things just as much as I spend time talking about encouraging you. So I think the board is doing a good job in being an example for a lot of people in the community for how you should handle a lot of things, not just education, but in life in general.
And in the context of just intergenerational conversation and really wanting to figure out ways that we can be better, I'm just encouraged because I think that's a step in the right direction of being better. I want to shout out to the District Parent Coordinating Council President Ed Spidell, who's on live with us and said good morning. Again, he's part of this leadership. And so I'm really encouraged by that. And again, we don't pull punches when it comes to our kids' education. We call it the way we see it. But this is one of them times where I think it's a good thing, and we should be really celebrate, the right direction that they're going on ahead. So what is it? Eric Journey. Okay, so I don't know. They got it's a consultant that's in charge of this, and they with the Council of Great City Schools. But either way I go, just know that that's going on. Pay attention. Look for these focus groups that are coming up. I know I'm part of one. I think April 23rd or something like that. So they out talking to community leaders, talking to business people, clergy, parents. They talking students, everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give a shout out to them. I also want to give a shout out to our Buffalo Education Equity Task Force. You know what I'm saying? The Urban Think Tank, along with, Better Together Coalition, a lot of folks came together to pull together this Buffalo Education Equity Task Force. Things are going really well on it. 9th and 10th conference. We are organizing a conference for August 9th and 10th. And with the whole point of the Buffalo Education Equity Task Force is to switch us over to a student-centered, what's the best way to say that? Student-centered focus. So like we have student outcomes focused governance, what we want to do is make sure that all the policies that are in place and all the things that we do as it relates to education, we are having student voice in that. And we checking with students to make sure that the thing we intend to do, that we are actually doing that. And so we have this conference that's going to center student voice. This is not just Buffalo Public School students. This includes students from the suburbs, BOCES. Superintendent is involved. We talked to our superintendent this week. She's heavily involved. We have students from rural communities, students from the Indian Reservation. So this is a West New York project that we're focused on to get equity in education. So we're excited. We'll be bringing in LaShawn Chapman from the National Equity Project as the keynote speaker, and Dr. Dia Bryant as the other about that. We're planning that. We also continue to work with the University of Buffalo Graduate Schools of Education to put together the Brainy Bulls, the tutoring program. And so you'll hear a little bit more about that in the show after next. All right, so that's the next thing. Those are two things I want to just make sure people are aware of. Last thing I want to make sure people are aware of is this is election year for the Buffalo Board of Education at-large race. You know what I'm saying? So there have been a lot of things that we have put in place to be able to increase the number of people who participate in the at-large race or just in the school board election in general. So let me just say that the election packets are out. You can the first day for circling petitions is April 16th. So if you want to run for school board, now is the time to get yourself ready. April 16th is the first day for circulating petitions. Petitions have to be turned in by May 28th. Let me just kind of go over some of the things that are required to be on the ballot for the Board of Education. One of the things that we fought for was moving from 1,000 signatures to get on the ballot down to 400. So you only need 400 signatures to be on the ballot.
Anybody in the city.
Say that again.
Yeah, because it's an at-large race, you don't have to get it from specific districts. Anybody who lives in the city of Buffalo who is a registered voter can sign your petition.
What about party affiliation?
It don't matter. right?
Right.
No, don't matter.
That's a big deal, everybody. I mean, any registered voter, 400 signatures, and it ain't got no matter whether Democrat, Republican, or Independent. You know what I'm saying? So that's really important. You need to be part of that process. All you gotta do to be on the Board of Education is be 18 years old and a citizen of the United States.
We gotta change this. This is what. Listen, oh my goodness.
Has that part always been the case?
That is so. Okay. I want to say this, and I'm really not trying to be. I'm just being authentic here. I think the bare minimum for a requirement to be on board education is you have to have a high school diploma or a GED equivalent. That's. I'm not saying you got to have graduated from high school, but at least have a GED. At least have proof that you went through the system that you're about to govern. That don't seem like crazy to y'all that you don't got to have a high school diploma or a GED to run a school
what I would hope is that because this is a democracy, we get to elect a person. I would hope that as a society or a community, we wouldn't elect somebody to run a $1 billion school district who's not able to do that. You know what I'm saying? If you can't read or write, you know what I mean, or you don't have a high school diploma, your ability to monitor and a $1 billion school district would seem to be challenged. But again, this is America. You got to be 18 years old, the citizen of the United States. That's the qualifications for being on a school board.
That's wild.
Other qualifications we decide as a board, as a community.
Agreed.
All right. So, and then I haven't heard many people announce yet, but Ed Spidell, the president of the district parent coordinating council, has announced. From what I'm hearing, 2 to 3 current people are considering running again. Larry Scott and Terrence Heard, our current at-large members, and Ann Rivera. Dr. Ann Rivera is a current at-large member. So, but nothing is official. I think Larry's Ed might be official.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He was at the St. Patty's Day parade. Okay. I seen this picture. And whenever you see Ed, he got his Vote Ed Spidell shirt on. So Ed is definitely official.
Okay. So my question is, during this election cycle, is every seat is available?
No, just the 3. Just the 3 at large. 3 of the 9 seats.
Okay, and how does the other 6 work?
Other seats. So this seat is a 5-year term.
Okay, 5
years. The other 6 seats are a 3-year term, and they'll be up next year.
No, 2 years, right?
They was elected last year?
No, you're right. It's next year.
It's next
wow.
year. They're up next year.
That happened quick.
Yeah, there you
go.
So
the difference between at-large and these ones are what?
Yeah, so at-large people are people that represent the whole city, and the 6 sub-districts represent a district.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're interested in running for the Board of Education, now is the time. Hopefully, we get some good people in the race. Let me tell you some things that we've done to encourage you to be part of the Board of Education. The first thing is we reduced the number of signatures. You only need 400 signatures. The next thing that we did is we fought to get the compensation for being on the board from $5,000, which it was from 1972 until now, because they just now changing it this year. From 1972 to now, all you got is $5,000 a year, which meant, in effect, you were paying to be on the board. You know what I'm saying? But finally, that's changed. It'll be $28,000. I'm hearing it maybe even be as much as $32,000. But right now, it'll be at least $28,000 a year to be. So that'll give you something to be able to run with, to be able to maintain yourself and your family for that kind of investment of time. So that's the second thing we did. And the main thing that we did is we moved the date. You know what I'm saying? We moved the date from May to November. And so moving the date from May to November led to almost a 500% increase. We went from on average in the district, the only contested district we had last time was the West District, which had about basically 1,000 people who would make a decision about who was going to run $1 billion operation. That has changed to the last election was over 10,000 people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So we saw a significant increase in voter participation. I think we're going to have a record turnout this year. I think we got a presidential election. We got more people than ever. You know what I'm saying? So I just think we're going to have a record turnout. So I think it's important for people to be aware. There's some things we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a voter guide to let you know who the candidates are. We are going to be hosting 2 debates between one before the candidates get on the ballot and one after the candidates get on the ballot. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to be looking for, if you're interested, reach out to us and we'll give you the details about what's going to happen with the debate.
Yeah, I'll say this. I wasn't, I know it's a difference in how people view the school board elections. I was in the barbershop this week, and somebody came with me talking about the school board election, and it was like, oh wow, like you can see that the change of day. And also, I was at a work related thing. Talking about some election stuff, and one of the things that got brought up was the fact that Buffalo was one of the places that fought for the date change.
Right.
And it was referenced in how powerful the union was, because we was talking about how powerful unions was in Buffalo, and they got brought up that one of the things that not kind of took some of the union's power was changing the date. So that was happening in Buffalo is being reverberated throughout the state as a place where the school board election is actually of importance. So, we definitely encouraging people to get out there and run, because it's an important thing.
And it was an important battle. Fighting that battle. We fought that battle for 10 years before we were able to overcome the union. Shout out to, Pastor Gillison, Bishop Badger, the Better Together Coalition, and a lot of people, who were instrumental in getting us over the hump after years of just hitting our head against the wall and not making no progress. But again, everybody, this is a real important election. This is over $1 billion of our taxpayer money, and more importantly, is our kids. It's the future of our community in a certain kind of way. So let me say, everybody, again, just as a reminder before we go into the next segment of our show, that there is a protest, 1722 Main Street, that's going on right now. For those who listen to Bishop Badger's show, you heard that Pastor McAllister is doing a peaceful protest about how his land is being infringed upon by his neighbor, and he's asking us as a community come stand with them today from 10 to 12 over at 1722 Main Street. And just like we had to fight for the Board of Education to move the date, this is sometimes in the community, you can't make a change unless you fight. So he's trying to make a change to get his rights respected, so let's support him if we can. All right, the next part of the show, the next segment of the show, I want to just, I want to know if y'all know this. In the audience, let me know if you know this. I was in the Dollar General on Ferry and Fillmore, on Thursday, right? And I was in there grabbing some Gatorades, and a young lady walked into the store. Interestingly, she had on a nursing outfit, you know what I'm saying? But she walked into the store, she went in, she grabbed like 5 or 6 things off the shelf, you know what I'm saying? And then she just walked out the store. I was standing there at the counter. She looked right at the
Cashier.
The cashier. Looked right at her. The cashier looked back at her, and I'm looking at the cashier. I'm going like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? She said they do it all the time.
Yes, they do.
I said, what?
It's wild over there.
She said, and we can't do nothing about it.
Nothing.
I said, wait a minute. I said, you got security? She says, no. She said, it's 2 women in the store. We ain't got no security. I said, and she said, if we can't move from behind the counter if somebody come in here and take something, right? So I just thought that was ridiculous, right? So I started talking to people. I went and talked to a person who's a manager at Walgreens. She said, the same thing at Walgreens. She said, Walgreens, we have no security. She said there's been no security since the pandemic, and you can't worth for stuff. And she said, so people just walk in and take stuff. So then I said, wait a minute, this can't be true. So I went and talked to a manager at Family Dollar. She said, oh yeah, that's true. We don't have security either. And if people come in and take something, they know we can do about it. I said, wait a minute. So I went and Googled this and started doing some research. You know what I'm saying? And CNN had a whole special on this. You know what I'm saying? Where they're saying basically because of all the mental health challenges and all stuff the police officers have to do, small shoplifting things is not something that they even prosecute. They don't even call the police. So people are able to walk in the store and just take something and walk out. You know what I'm saying? So, callers, if this is something that you see or you've heard of, call us at 837-1112, 837-1112. I just want to see how pervasive this is. I mean, I just couldn't believe that we as a society are in a place where we're basically saying that, shoplifting is all right, and,
Yes.
you just have to sit there and watch. They said security guards can't do nothing about it. Nope. If somebody come do something, you're not supposed to touch them, say nothing to them, just let them walk in and walk out.
Yeah, even before the pandemic, probably the Family Dollar on Utica and Main Street is
my God.
It's pervasive. It's every day. It's the same people it's just. I was in the line and they just came in and they like, the cashier was like, "Oh, look at her, she's stealing." She knew she was stealing when she came in the store. She didn't wait till she leave the store that she was stealing. She knew she was stealing when she came in the store. So yeah, this has been a thing. It's just. Sometimes you be like, yo, just give me my $20 back there. I'm trying to be nice. Just let me give me my $20. Let me just walk out the store too. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know. I don't know, right? I don't know how stores can sustain itself, right? You see a lot of Rite Aids, you see a lot of Dollar Generals closing. Like, there's a lot. The Rite Aid on Delavan and Bailey closed. The Dollar General
Right on Genesee, a bunch of Rite Aid closed. The one on Genesee and Harlem closed.
Because it was just, I mean, I know a lot of things has been being locked up in certain stores, like certain areas of the stores being locked.
That bothered me.
But at some point you understand why, right? The valuable stuff got to be locked up. The valuables, because you can just come and take it and just walk out.
Yeah. So I'll say this, right? Because similar to you, Dad, I was having that experience so much because I used to work at the office. On Filmer, so I would go to that Dollar General all the time. Right. I was having the experience so much going in there that people were stealing. I just stopped going. Because I would be in there and they would come in and just take stuff. And when I was there, it was a guy manager, and he couldn't leave the thing. So the dude would come still. He would yell, "Yo, get!" And I'm looking. I'm like, "You gonna go?" He said, "We can't." And this guy would come. I mean, they come in and they like take. It's like kind of crazy. They shop. They put stuff in their bag, because people got the reusable bags now. Yeah. They shop, they put stuff in their bags, and they just leave.
So because of the pandemic, without nobody gonna think about it, and you can walk in with your reusable bag, shop, and just walk out of the store.
Walk out. I've seen it, and so for me, it was a safety issue for me. So I'm like, I'm not gonna go to this store no more, because I'm not gonna put myself.
But it's not just that. It's pervasive now. So I want to know what we as a community think. As a community, do we think it's all right that you can go into a Family Dollar, a Rite Aid, a Dollar General, you can go into a Walgreens and they don't have no security? You know what I'm saying? No security as a deterrent.
Well, that's the problem.
No, as a deterrent, and then they saying to the teller, to the cashier, that you cannot say nothing to nobody. You can't do anything. Is that the community we want to live in? I'm just curious, as a community, do we agree with that?
But it's also the problem also is that not only is a pervasive, it's also to the point where business is just going to decide not to be in the community no more. Well, and that's the problem, because we always talk about lack of businesses in the inner city, but if these stores are constantly getting robbed or constantly getting stole from, what kind of business owner would say, I'm going to keep my store inside of a community that's constantly taken from me?
And if you're a business owner, why don't you have security then?
That's also a good question.
I mean, to me, it's almost like you're trying to tell, because I'm hearing that the Family Dollar on Amherst, on Kenmore, and the Family Dollar on Niagara is about to close because the theft is so high. You know what I'm saying? They can't. But I'm saying, but if you don't got no security, you don't have no deterrent to prevent people from doing that. How can you blame that on just the community?
I don't think it's a blame thing. I think I think both parties are responsible. But go ahead, Buddha.
No, I don't know. I don't have the answers, right? It's and all that type of stuff. It kind of trickled down from there, right? It is what it is. Even when you're on social media, you see people just going into high-end stores, just taking going to Gucci, Louis, and just taking stuff from high-end stores. You know what I mean? And you can't do nothing about that. Like, it's like you see that prevalent all through social media. People just going everywhere, just taking clothes, taking shoes, and just walking out. What you gonna do? And people just trying to stop them, but it's up to the worker there to stop them. But they can get charges technically by doing that.
Yeah.
So you risking your own. And so if it's something you're not tied to, like a Family Dollar, like a Dollar General, on some level. Some workers might care, but a lot of them don't care. It's like, what matter to me?
Well, I mean, again, why would they put themselves in harm's way? But my point is, that's why you hire security. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, because when I was doing the research on this, it was a Macy's in Seattle, and they went on strike because they said they wanted security. You know what I'm saying? They demanded that they have security in their community, and it was also interesting because the police officers, and I forgot what city it is now, but they basically said that part of the problem is sometimes the store, because the store won't prosecute for stealing anything less than $700 for a small shoplifting thing. They said that at Target in that city, Target do not want police officers arresting anybody in their store. They said, so if somebody in their store,
look of it.
they said they don't want no police officer touching nobody in their store. So if you can target, they said you got to wait till they get outside and arrest them outside and try to do it off the store property. They don't want no incidents involving police touching their customers in Target. So the police officer said, wait a minute, we catch somebody, shoplifting, and you want us to literally, you more concerned about how you look on social media than us apprehending the felon.
Yeah, this is so interesting. First off, Ed, the call number 716-837-1112, 716-837-1112. This is so interesting because I was watching a video on social media this week about how coming off of the George Floyd incident, coming off of the pandemic, because of how people viewed the police, how society has shifted to a place where companies, businesses, people want so little action with the police that a lot of stuff that used to get reported don't get reported no more. Because people were like, I don't want to call the police to any scene. I don't want to be seen as somebody who's affiliated with the police, who's working with the police. So now they've gotten to the place where, for petty stuff, for little things, they don't even call the police no more. They don't even interact with the police.
That's what the manager told me.
Yeah.
The manager told me that we have been directed to not even call the police.
Yeah.
I'm saying. So you've been directed to watch people steal, don't call the police, and don't do anything about it. I'm saying, what are you, to me, on some level, what is going on with us as a society where we're saying, people just can come in and steal and then that's all right?
We got a caller hanging on. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, hey, it's Ed Slidell.
What's up,
morning,
Ed?
guys?
Good morning.
So thanks for the shout out. Good morning. Thanks for the shout out. But I spent 3 years working at Dollar General. I managed it in Central Park Plaza. The companies will not pay for security, and everything you're saying is 100% true. And there's professionals that come in and clear out your whole sock section. They come in 3 deep. They distract the manager, distract the clerk, and fill up trash bags full of socks and underwear and walk right out. And they park just far enough away from the camera that you can't identify them.
Wow.
And then the DA won't do anything, and you're just for a big loss.
It's so crazy, Ed, because I was in Dollar General yesterday to go get some socks, and the socks was gone. The whole sock section was gone. I'm like, how is there no socks in here? It was gone. And so that's crazy that you say that, because there was no socks, not needed socks.
Wow.
Deodorant, toothbrushes, socks, power drinks, bacon. They would steal our ribs. If it's not bolted down, the professionals will steal whatever they can.
And it's interesting that you say that because one of the things that on the CNN report they had on it, they said that that's the one they will prosecute. They will prosecute the organized crime. But they say because organized crime, there's a whole syndicate of organized crime where they're robbing stores and then selling stuff online. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, it's a major market for you to sell stuff, online in bulk and that kind of thing. Wow. And so they got organized people that they send into stores, case the store and just basically clean the joint out, for something that has value online, and then they go online and they sell the product.
Yeah, that's wild.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, Ed. We got another caller hanging on. Caller, are you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
I want to make a comment. Ask Sam. I watched the Board of Ed meeting the other day, and at the end of the meeting, there was an announcement that the Board of Ed members were going to have to go out together in pairs to meet with the community about the school system. Does Sam know anything about this? Where is the announcement? Where are the dates? Where are the meetings? This was right at the end.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm aware of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know if they have it posted now. Like, for example, I know that Monday at 6 o'clock, they had the clergy over at Mount Olive Church. And I know board member Paulette Woods and board president Sharon Cotman was there. So who the other stakeholder groups are and when the meetings are, I don't know. But if I would start with just asking the board member, because I'm pretty sure that the consultant is gonna, one of the things the consultant is doing with the board is saying, making sure that they stay transparent and they give information to the public that the public needs to have about what's going on. So, I mean, I would just simply reach out, check the website. If we can find something before the end of the show, I'll say it on the show, but check the website to find out. But yeah, that's that they are required to go out and meet with the stakeholders, and they have started doing that.
Yeah, and we just got a comment saying they haven't posted the dates yet. But just I would also suggest going on social media and following the board members too, because I know a lot of them post their updates there too. But the dates haven't been posted yet for those meetings.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. We got another caller hanging on. Caller, are you there?
God bless y'all. Keep up the good work. I was in Family Dollar down on Jefferson about 2 weeks ago, and so I was over there by the deodorant, and this man came in there with this big bag, and he took his arm and I looked over there. He was raking all the deodorant in this big bag, and he had two big boxes of two big containers of Tide detergent in there, right? And I looked over there and I ran to the front, right? I told the girl, he's stealing. But I know I thought he might bother me by me seeing it. And so she said, oh, he comes in here twice a day. She said, my job is to stand right here at this cash register. I said, excuse me?
What? Wow.
That's right. And guess what? And so a young lady, she was working at one Family Dollar, and she was working down there. She lived walking down the street. She lives there. And she told me that guy took him down to the floor last week. So, I know he wasn't supposed to do that, I don't guess, but he took him down. But that guy, she said he comes in there twice a day.
Yeah, when I asked about it, they said different stores do different things. Like they say, for example, the Family Dollar, Bailey and Lisbon, whoever the manager over there is, they say they don't play that. They be on top of them people who come. So different stores, they don't got no security. But if the manager make it clear, this is my store. You are not coming to my store taking nothing, and they confront them. Some of them don't do that and they tell them the store policy. And when you watch CNN interview, they tell you the store policy is employees are not to say nothing to a shoplifter. Yeah. You're not to interact with them in any kind of way. You're supposed to just simply.
This girl told me, and she said my job. She kept playing right on her cellular phone. Click, I left out the store without getting my stuff back. He was still back there, and I ran to the front. When she told me that, I ran out the door. I said, because he knocked me in my head. I seen it. I got paranoid.
I'm the same way, Sister Pat.
I just think.
And later I came back there myself, and I told her. He didn't say nothing, right? And so I said, we don't have no stores in the neighborhood. But that they stealing like that?
Yeah.
He ain't the only one every day.
But here's what my concern is, Pat. My concern is that I think as a community, we need to go to these major retailers and demand that they have security in these stores. Because I think, this is our community members in that store. Because if they just let you come in and take anything you want and walk out shoplifting, you one step away from them coming to the cash register. You know what I'm saying? You one step away from them. People just start. You can take everything else you want now.
Right next to you too. The person in the store.
Exactly.
Like, give me yours too.
We're encouraging that spirit to grow and just run amok in our community. You know what I'm saying? I mean.
But then it got nothing to do with the people safety. Okay, God bless y'all. See y'all. Get ready to go down to the rally.
All right.
Good day. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, I just think it's a safety risk to the community for major retailers to not have security. For major retailers to say that, people just can come in and shop. And then what are you saying? Then when you say, listen, I got to go out of business. I got to shut that business down because the theft is too high. But you didn't do nothing to even deter it.
Yeah. It's for me, it's like y'all said, the safety risk that comes, because we also got to understand, and I know we talk about it on this show a lot, it's not just adults in those stores, it be kids in those stores.
Yeah.
It's kids. And so when you start allowing people to come do that, and there are children in those stores, and things can happen, and things can escalate quickly, but also kids are watching. Yeah. And so you also start to encourage kids to do those same things, and then you complain and say, why do kids doing that? Well, if they watching the adults in the community do it, the kids gonna start doing it. And then we gonna have a bigger problem, because then it just spills over. So we gotta confront. But we got another caller. We got another caller. Caller, are you there?
Hi, yes, thank you very much. I just had a quick comment because I certainly feel for everybody. I'm part of it. But I've listened to your show in the past, and I've got to kind of step back a little and say, you seem to really support the Democrats, and this is what you get with the bail reform and just releasing everybody out. And it's so easy to say, it's just mental health. These people know what they're doing. And people are continuously putting, even in New York City with Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, and just like anything goes. And you can tell that where our society is headed. And, now you've got a gentleman on TikTok with the illegal aliens saying, just bust into a house and you're a squatter and you'll be good for 6 months. They can't touch you. I mean, that's going out to, he's got 30 million followers. So I just don't, I try
Well, caller, let me say this, caller. First of all, when you listen to the rest of the show, you're going to see that, one of the concerns that we talking about is this kind of this anything goes mentality. That's a problem. And I think it's unfair to kind of paint a broad brush on things. Well, we don't support Democrats or Republicans. We support what's right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care if the Democrats are doing something wrong or the Republicans doing wrong. I don't know that this issue has a political bent. It's just an issue where, you should not be allowing people to just come into your store and shoplift, right? And so if people are supporting that, if they Democrats supporting that, justifying that, I think, or Republicans, I think the point is we as a community need to stand up against that.
Thank you,
Carl. I certainly appreciate that.
All right. Thank you so much, caller.
For the killers. Thanks.
We got another caller hanging on call. We got two more? No, we got one more caller hanging on call. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Hi, how y'all doing today?
Hey, Baba.
I appreciate the points you're bringing up and the points being brought up on the station. In terms of Midtown Bible Chapel, it sounds very familiar to me of what's going on with St. John and Pastor Chapman and his not being allowed to do what they want to in terms of the development of the fruit belt because of a blockage by the head of the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. I'm wondering at what point do we, the people who are in power, whether it's the revolution's exercise thing, that people are allowed to do what they want to do. I understand the shoplifting thing, but it seems like when people can tell you what to do on your own property, it can stop you from doing what you want to do on your own property. It seems like that's lawlessness also. And it seems like it's organized and recognized lawlessness. But in terms of the shoplifting, it's a setup. It's a setup that there's going to be a reaction. There's going to be a heavy-handed reaction because no business can exist before items that they're trying to sell. So it's a setup, and we just have to wait and see what the setup is what the outcome is going to be. But believe me, it will not go on like this forever. It will not. There will be a reaction.
Thank you so much, Bob, for your comments. We appreciate it. We'll answer it, but we got Lee who want to add something real quick. Go ahead, Lee.
To move away from the McAllister thing, if you're going to support him, go down there. But go back to retail thing. There are people in the metropolitan Philadelphia area that own a couple of chains of stop-and-go convenience stores, and they have hired armed security. Mm-hmm. Armed security with assault rifles. This thing could get out of hand.
Yeah.
To the caller who called about bail reform, and I talked to a lawyer about this, and also a local politician, when it first started. Bail reform keeps it from being mandatory, to call it. Keeps it from being mandatory, so that you don't have mandatory bail for somebody who probably is unemployed. They're going to be in jail. Whereas someone who commits a crime and can't afford bail, they're out. But the person mandatory is the presiding judge. So it's not necessarily on a voting thing. Will you put in office? They may do that, or they may not. Yeah. But don't just want bail reform. Yeah, I think bail reform needs to be reviewed, but not because of it was passed by a Democrat and it's put more criminals on the street. Then we look at the jurisprudence that's going on at sentencing and bail.
I also want to add, I think part of the problem with that caller is that when we have gotten to the place in society where we politicize every issue. Every issue is right or left. Every issue is far right or far left. And it sometimes it halts people to be able to have well-rounded conversations about whether it don't matter whether I voted Democrat or what's right and what's wrong. And it's interesting that he brought up. I've been watching videos on the squatters thing for a while because it's interesting. Because basically, and it's funny because I read an article last night. LeBron James, 2 doors down from LeBron James, is squatters.
Wow.
It's squatters in his neighborhood, right?
Wow.
But what's happening is they're throwing parties, they're doing things, and they're squatting. And what LeBron's reaction to it was to hire 24/7 security for his house because he can't get those people out because they squatting. Right. And so again, these squatting issues. These are bigger issues. And it's not about right or left. It's about right and wrong. And for somebody to pull up at their house that they own, that they got the deed to, and walk in and say,
"I'm a gated community.
I'm trying to get in. No, I got squatters' rights."
Yeah,
it gets crazy, and so it's a deeper conversation.
It is a deeper conversation because I remember in college we used to do that. You know, we used to organize people to squat, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, we did. You know what I'm saying?
Because you got rights.
Because in public housing, you had people who were homeless, and they had these public housing units that were not filled, and so we organized people and showed them how to go get in there and take advantage of that place. But I mean, again, it's a deeper conversation. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I think right now this anything goes mindset, and I kind of want to talk about it in another context. But let me just say with the to a close, because basically if you look at the research, they gave a lot of reasons for why this is going on. So they essentially said that first of all, there are less police officers available to respond and investigate a shoplifting. A shoplifting where nobody was injured or hurt physically or threatened like that because of all the mental health stuff that's going on, and you know it's a more serious thing. They said also stores don't call police. And therefore, there's no record of there being a shoplifting problem. The last two is that employees and security guards are not allowed to stop these, and then there's an under prosecution. Even if you identify somebody and you catch them, they basically drop the charges on them and give them a violation. They don't give them a criminal charge; they just give them a violation because it's shoplifting.
Yeah, we got a caller. Hanging on caller. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, we as black people, especially in Buffalo, need to know that we're in a war. It's a race war. The spirit of Trump is going around. The spirit of hatred. They're passing laws against us. I can't even get my check cashed. I'm 74 years old, my Social Security check. But they won't ID. But they took the ID off the benefit card. So I've been jumping through hoops ever since. Money that they're pushing people on, which is lawless, that have no law and no order. The companies do what they want to do. They go in your account, take out what they want, and ain't nobody coming out. And they know that. And they took my whole check in October, and now I'm having trouble cashing the paper check. They're coming against us. You better get ready. Because if you're a Christian in this land, if you got Muslims running around hating Christians, you better be ready. So you better know you're in a fight, and they ain't letting up. They got the spirit of Trump. I'm telling you, it's in the land already. They took their ID, the picture off of their benefit card, which is poor people, the people on Social Security, and the handicapped. So they're against us. They want for the money. The banks is running everything. The banks told Social Security to stand down, and that's what they've been doing. And can nobody help me? I don't know who I'm supposed to call. You know, they're doing what they want to do. You better know that.
Thank you so much, caller. Thank you.
They got the spirit of Tulsa in them. Oklahoma, remember that?
Yes, sir.
Everything.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you calling, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling in.
And so the kind of other thing I want to talk about, and we won't talk about this. We're going to talk about this more next week. But I kind of want to get the community ready to talk about this because Joe, when I post this as a conversation, Joe wants to talk about the Supreme Court's role in it. But I do want to talk about what we want to do is talk about what's been in the news this week. This issue with online gambling, you know what I'm saying, or just legalized gambling. You know what I'm saying? Legalized gambling in general. You know what I'm saying? So the NBA story this week, you know what I'm saying? John Tate Porter. But and then Otani. You know what I'm saying? So I mean I think it was Bernie Bickerstaff who came out and said that the worst thing that ever happened to professional sports was legalized gambling.
He said, Spencer Dinwiddie or D'Angelo Russell, one of them came out and said we basically props. We props now. Like people don't care about whether we win or lose, they care about whether we hit their props.
Yeah, and that's wait, what's a prop?
Like the bet, like if the over unders, like if it's like that's a prop bet, and that's what people look at. Go ahead.
Bernie Bickerstaff said he got like
threats
from to his personal phone from gamblers, from professional gamblers and stuff. So it's getting crazy.
No, they said organized crime. They're pressing referees, they're pressing coaches, they're pressing players. You know, basically saying all you gotta do is shave a point here and there, and you can make people real rich. Well, matter of fact, the one with John Tay was like it was an over under situation, right?
Yep, it was everybody bet the under on his points, and 4 minutes into the game, he mysteriously got sick. And he left, and he didn't finish, and that was the most money made on that was made on that under bet, where they bet the under on it, and they said it was so much money for such a non-important player that the betting house was like, this is a little bit crazy, and then he did it again, and he did so there's 2 games under investigation where he basically left both of them early, and people bet the under on them, and they raked it in. And the betting houses was like, this got to be impossible.
But when you start talking about just what has happened since we legalized gambling, right? I mean, especially, you know, on sports. I mean, literally, when you cannot watch football or basketball without 50 commercials about DraftKings, about this or that.
It's interesting because I want to. This conversation. I've been listening to a lot of shows about this. It's so interesting, the model that the sports house, the betting houses did, because basically what they did, I heard somebody compare it to the Godfather scene. Remember in that scene in the Godfather where they're talking to the heads of the families is talking about whether they're gonna get into drugs or not,
right?
And they was like, it's a dirty business, and Don Corleone like, we not doing that. But one of the other Dons like, that's where the money is at. He said basically what happened was all these heads of these sports and said, listen, it's happening. And if we don't get involved, we're losing out on billions of dollars. So I know we don't like it. I know it's a dirty business, but we got to go there. And so now when you look, most of the professional sports is sponsored by these companies. DraftKings, FanDuel, all of them, everything.
ESPN Bet got their own thing.
And it's not just, and it's so interesting because it's not just the sporting places, it's the podcasting networks. So now all the podcasts, so literally everywhere you turn and look, it's a betting house saying basically go bet.
This is what I saw on the governor's website. She said, upon the 2-year anniversary of mobile sports betting in New York State, Governor Hochul announced today that the state has collected more than $1.55 billion in taxes on such bets. Most of it has been for education. Last year, they collected $862 million. When added to the $693 million that they already collected and $200 million in licensing fees collected in 2022, that brings the total generated revenue. This is not how many bets. This is just how much money the state got.
How much?
$1.75 billion. As government is basically lending itself to just more legalization. As a matter of fact, they say the online gambling could be the next big legalization fight in Albany, where casino companies have the potential for a big payday if they are successful in lobbying efforts. And what this means? It says for more than 2 years now, almost anyone in New York State above 21 has been able to legally bet on sports from the palm of their hand, and millions have. Since the state has launched mobile sports betting in January 22, gamblers have stampeded to the betting apps. As companies like DraftKings and FanDuel have blitzed the airwaves with ads, in the leagues like the NFL and the NBA have fully embraced sports betting, New Yorkers alone, this is just New York, New Yorkers alone have wagered $40 billion on sports. New York has surpassed the 2 other juggernauts in the sports betting space. $22.9 billion in New Jersey for the past 2 years, and Nevada $16.1 billion.
We bet more than Nevada?
Double. You know what I'm saying? It's a big reason why
That's
New York
wild.
is already being called the sports betting capital of the world.
40 bill?
And it says the rise of sports betting, however, may not end up being the most consequential form of betting in New York State. Many in the industry, some of the New York lawmakers are pressing for a legalized, lesser-known type of mobile wagering called interactive gaming or iGaming. While iGaming essentially is online casinos like slots, blackjack, roulette, craps, they have the potential of being more lucrative than the gambling companies and the sports betting. And they about to legalize that now, to where you can just play it on your phone. And so, and they saying that they made $40 billion in the sports. They say that is going to make more than the sports.
Yeah, because it's legal. I think in Canada, because I mean the rapper Drake, he's I don't know if he owned it or a co-owner of one of the biggest ones, and he promotes it. I don't know what it's called, but he promotes it. And he promotes him playing roulette, or he promotes him playing blackjack online, where it's an online dealer. It was like a video of the dealer just doing. So it's like it's crazy. So it's coming. For sure, for sure.
And this is interesting because one of the points they were making about this danger of betting is that what the NBA and NFL bet on was that because of the salaries they're paying players, that the integrity of the game wouldn't be challenged. And they said that we don't mind getting into bed with these betting companies because we pay our players so much money that it doesn't entice them to bet. And so one of the fears of the Jonte Porter incident is that basically these 15th and 14th players on the bench saying, listen, if I'm going to play today and I can make $350,000, $400,000 from just not shooting or going under, why wouldn't I do that? Go.
I think that's they didn't have to do. That's just something they justified themselves.
Yeah.
Right, because that don't make any sense. Because the issue isn't the 10-year NBA player.
No.
The issue is the college player right now, or the high school player right now that's probably doing right now. This is the NFL. New England Patriots receiver Keyshawn Butte was arrested a couple months ago.
Oh my God!
For computer fraud and game prohibited for persons under 21. He allegedly placed 9,000 bets while in college.
Under his name.
So it's like the people that's coming in. It's so easy to do. So it's the people that's coming in. That now the whole generation that's coming in is already doing it. It's so easy. It's so quick. I know they're supposed to be over 21, but they're not. It's like
it's over.
It's over. It's kids. We was talking about this in front of some person, and when the guy that was listening to us, he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "I spend $300-400 every week." He said, "I one time I spent $100 on one $2,400, and then I just started saying, well, if I spend $1,000, I might win $24,000." And he said, "I've been spending like $300-400, and I'm going down." And he said, "And I can't stop."
The house always wins, right? It's so crazy to me that these professional sports companies do not understand that Bill Simmons compared it to fantasy football. He said when fantasy football came in, people stopped watching the NFL because they love the game. They care more about their fantasy. And he said that's different because fantasy football, money exchanges between whoever set the league up. He said now it's everybody. And if I know somebody who play in a league and they play 10 snaps and I can bet the under on something they do, and I go to them and I'm like, yo, I'm going to just tell everybody to bet the under on you. And if you do this, I'm going to break you off. Why wouldn't a player making anything, not like you said, not the 10-year player say, yeah, that's a risk I'm willing to take. And they saying Jonte Porter, he barely make $1 million. And so why would the risk it don't overcome the reward that he can get for this.
This started with a 2018 Supreme Court decision that made us be able to do this. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. That we also now in New York State have these what they call them safe injection sites, where you can go in a safe injection site with your illegal drug and safely take legal drugs take illegal drugs, right? These safe injection sites, you can go there and they'll have all your syringes and everything, so you can safely take your illegal drug. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, wait a minute, we're in a situation where now you can just go in the store and steal. You teaching kids how to bet on everything. You know what I'm saying? You got safe injection sites. Now there's also legislation to decriminalize sex work. You know what I'm saying? And Maine has already passed to where now you can decriminalize. I'm just simply saying.
You can pick your gender.
Wait, and I want people to understand. When I tell you people bet on anything, you can bet on online 2K games. You can bet on online virtual basketball games and make money. People bet on anything.
We've been talking about this process of social media addiction, right? Social media addiction of our kids, right? Our kids are addicted to these phones, right?
Oh my God.
But my point is that it's like addiction is all around us. They addicting little kids to gambling. Now we addicting kids to legalize drugs. We addicting kids to now, legalize. I mean, it's like my God. If you can walk into a store and nobody say nothing while you stealing, I mean, it's like this thing has gone too far. I mean, on some level, I think we got to do something about it as a society.
Yeah, and I know we got to go, but just the idea of that is on your phone. And I know a lot of people. There's a lot of people sports gamble.
Oh my!
And a lot of people, they got their tickets, they got their props.
They get sensitive,
and they feel so innocent because it's in the privacy of your phone.
Yeah.
You ain't going somewhere that's dark in the alley. You don't got no book. You got bookie. You don't got a brown paper bag. It's just in your phone. You just make a little ticket, a little best $50 bets here and there, so they don't feel like it's a big issue. But we
gonna pay for this. The chicken gonna come home.
I'll say this. I'll end it with this story. I was watching Mark Jackson's podcast. And just to show you how society has changed, he said he was a second-year player and he was playing against Charles Barkley. And Charles Barkley they was talking junk. And Charles Barkley, I bet you won't shoot that. I bet you won't do that. And he said they got accused of betting on the game. Wow. And so he said David Stern called them into the NBA office and said, if I find proof that y'all betting on games, I'm banning y'all from the league. You and Charles. He said David Stern gets out, walks out, and Charles Barkley looks at him and says, Mark, I bet you David Stern won't be out. And so he said to come from almost being banned from the league from betting to now it being encouraged in his lifetime. He said it's crazy.
Think about Pete Rose on Ohtani. Yeah. I mean, Pete Rose can't get into the Hall of Fame, and Ohtani just, anyway. Yeah. So my point is, I think this is an important conversation, that we got to have as a community.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we close every week by saying,
power to the